Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Season of Total Life Change. My name is Roscoe Mason, and I am the Executive Leadership Coach and webcaster of Season of Total Life Change. For those of you who don't know, executive leadership is about coaching, mentoring, training, decision-making, and strategic planning, and setting organizational goals. Today, we have as our special guest, Dr. Floyd Atkins. Dr. Atkins is originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but he has lived in Houston for a number of years. He is a retired podiatrist and sports medicine practitioner who decided 16 years ago to devote his life to help others understand the importance of holistic health and wellness. Dr. Atkins is a well-respected lecturer and author, and he has several books published on the subject of health and wellness. We'll be back with Dr. Atkins in just a few minutes as we set up our Zoom presentation. Please be patient, and we'll be right back. Okay, all right. We have Dr. Floyd Atkins as our guest today. And can you hear me? Wait, you got me muted.
Okay, yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. All right, we have Dr. Floyd Atkins with us today on the Season of Total Life Change channel. And Dr. Floyd is originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but you've lived in Houston for a number of years. And I can see you're a retired podiatrist, but one thing I did not know that you went to Morehouse.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a big thing, you know, in our community. To go to Morehouse, that's like going to what? Oxford.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher than Ivy League.
Yeah, it is applied after. And Dr. Atkins, I see you're a well-respected lecturer and an author, and you have several books published on the subject of health and wellness.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Now, let me ask you a question, Dr. Atkins. How are you today?
I am doing fine today. Just happy to be well. You know, everybody's been going through this COVID situation, but you know, I just stress to everybody that if they don't get stressed about it and take care of their immunity, they don't have to worry about the virus. You know, you
right.
want to be proactive.
So I think I heard you say take care of that immune system.
Yes. That's one of the key factors. Most people are more concerned about what do I do to try to address the virus, but our body are wonderfully made to be able to withstand any assaults when it comes to viruses and infections and things like that. And I think what we see with people in the community is the fact that people who are at risk are people who have immune challenges or have immune systems that are compromised in some way, whether it's through disease, whether it's through their diet, lifestyle, nutrition, you know, alcohol. There are a lot of ways to compromise your immune system. So if you could address that, then I think your immunity can really throw off any of these viruses that we're going to see for the next few years.
Yeah, and that's a real jewel there, Dr. Atkins. I really appreciate you dropping that on our audience today, because you know that's concerning a lot of people.
Yes.
That's one of the things my son has been saying, you know.
Yes.
So I know exactly where you're coming from. Now, let me go back to you for just a second. How long have you lived in Houston?
Well, I came to Houston.
I'm trying to make sure I don't have any internet problems.
Matter of fact, but Houston 20 years.
Okay. I was trying to make sure I didn't have any internet issue.
Okay.
It's freezing up.
Well, oh yeah. Okay, it was freezing up on me. Okay. All right. Now, you were saying how long have you been in business?
I have been in Houston approximately 20 years. Once I finished undergraduate school and medical school, I am trained as a foot surgeon, a podiatrist. I did that for over 20 years, about 24 years. And I guess in 2003, along with my wife, Dr. Pamela Atkins, we made a transition into more natural approach to health and wellness. And we wanted to teach people to be more proactive about their life, to practice prevention rather than waiting till you have a problem and go to a doctor. Because once you have a problem, it becomes much more complicated to get rid of the problem. But if you do things in advance, you can avoid those problems.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great attitude to have, Dr. Atkins. I try to follow that advice, myself,
Yeah.
and we slip back and forth sometimes, but it's a good thing to take that into consideration.
Yes.
Now, can you share with the audience what you do and what type of business you have?
Yes. Well, right now, what I do is I spend most of I've kind of dedicated myself to teaching when it comes to wellness coaching, when it comes to teaching people how to make lifestyle changes, when it comes to consultation, when it comes to nutrition and wellness. I do a lot of research when it comes to nutrition, wellness, dietary supplements, just what's the best way to take care of the temple that God has given us. That's what I really do. My wife is a family practice trained MD. She practices with a holistic approach, which means she looks at the whole person, not just in one part of the body. And you want to take a more proactive approach. That means you want to do things that kind of can build a person's body up, can prevent situations that arise that cause disease or illness. So in our office, the Center for Wellness and Healing, I'm the office administrator, and also I do the wellness coaching and nutritional counseling and some of our nutrition programs that we have developed, and a lot of the research when it comes to finding out, preparing protocols for patients. So it's more of, traditional medicine, people are looking for a diagnosis. They always go to doctors, say, I need a diagnosis. In more preventive or holistic medicine, you want to do things to prevent a diagnosis. What can I do not to have a diagnosis? What can I do to stay healthy and not get sick? So that's kind of what we need.
So I think I hear you saying food is the key. What you put in your body is one of the keys to staying healthy.
Absolutely. One motto I say when I lecture around the country is that the most important decision we make each and every day of our lives is not the kind of job we have, or not the career we pursue, or how much money we have in the bank, but the most important decision is what you pick up with your hand and what you put into your mouth, because that would determine your quality of life and would determine your quantity of life. It would determine how long you're going to live and how well you're going to live by what you eat every day. So you should always be very conscious of that. Food.
Wow, that's a real jewel, that, Dr. Atkins. That's a real jewel. Now,
Yeah.
What are some of the goals that you have in doing this?
Well, the number one goal is that you have to, when it comes to eating, you want to have, number one, a plant-based diet. You hear a lot about, vegetarian and vegan, and people choose different kind of diets, with the Mediterranean diet and all those kind of things. But you want to focus on something that's what we call just a plant-based diet. That means the basis of what you eat are plants, and you want to have live plants, as much live as possible. The less processed a food is, that means it doesn't come in a can, a package, a box, a carton. The healthier it is for you. It has more nutrition, because we're eating food for nutrition and not for taste. Unfortunately, in the world today, most people are eating for taste and not necessarily nutrition. But if you eat for nutrition, you give your body what it needs, and your body will respond and take care of you. But if you're abusing your body with fried foods, a lot of cooked foods, a lot of foods that have been processed, artificial colors, artificial flavors, dyes, chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, other food additives, you're just not doing yourself any favor with that. And so I emphasize, number one, you have to make sure you eat a more organic diet. And organic simply means that's foods that are low or no pesticides or chemicals. And because the chemicals and the pesticides are really the things that drag down your immune system, and they cause us to be more likely to get sick. And then number two, it's the water. You want to make sure you're drinking adequate water. I think a lot of problems we see in our society today, that our society is chronically dehydrated. We don't get enough water. And I always advocate drinking either spring water or high alkaline water, at least a 7.6 higher alkaline water, just because it stimulates your immune system. It's nourishing for your body. Alkaline water tends to lift you up. Acidic water tends to bring you down. The same way with the diet. You have an acidic diet and an alkaline diet. The acidic diet is a diet of meat and potatoes. The alkaline diet is a diet of vegetables and fruits. So, you know, if you go back to the Bible, you look at what Daniel did. Daniel ate off his plate, which is a vegetarian or alkaline diet. But if you eat the meat and potato, the acidic diet, you don't do as well. And that's where all the chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, autoimmune disease come in from that acidic diet. Eating that alkaline diet tends to do just the opposite. It takes you in the opposite direction.
Okay, so the vegetables and fruits give you the alkaline that you need.
Absolutely. And then, you know, nuts and starch, there are a number of foods that are associated with the alkaline diet. And I see, you know, I didn't mention my book, but in the book I do have a chapter that covers what an alkaline diet is and foods that are on an alkaline diet that are alkalinizing and lift you up and stimulate your immune system, as opposed to eating acidic foods that tend to drain your immune system and bring you down. So, yeah, I talk about that quite a bit in the book.
Okay, okay. And I know these are some phenomenal goals that you have.
Yes.
And I don't need to ask you this, but I'm gonna ask you this question anyway. How can these goals help our community?
Well, you know, the biggest thing with our community is it goes back to education. You know, we have many patients and people who come to us and they want to make a lifestyle change, and they can do that. But if they don't understand why they're doing it and understand the repercussions of making a different choice, they tend to always fall back to their old habits. So how we have to help the community is through education. That's why I really dedicated myself to educating as much as possible. Every opportunity I get to talk, as with your show today, I want to share with people what they can do to really take baby steps or take a step by step. Even if you make one change a week, one change a month, but every day, if you make one change a week or one change a month, you'll make 12 changes in 1 year. You'll make 36 changes, you know, you can make 48 changes just in 1 year. And that is significant, because those are the things we do tend to end up in diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. You know, I talk to people and I say, when it comes to our community, when it comes to the things that are bad or negative in health-wise, we're always at the top of the list. When it comes to things that are good health-wise that we really need, we're at the bottom of the list. So we have to switch that dynamic up, where we're doing things, starting with the diet, because that's where all improvement, no matter, you can't take a magical pill, you can't take a drug to really reverse these things. People would like to do that because it's a short fix, a quick fix, but you have to make those dietary changes. So you want to, number one, make sure that you're eating, like I said, at least a 50% raw diet. That means that you have salads on your plate, you have cucumbers and vegetables, you have some fruits, low glycemic fruits like your berries, like, you know, mango, you can have apple, you can have those kind of as a snack.
Yeah, it froze up.
You want to cut.
Yeah, it froze up on me.
Our waters are polluted, but there's certain fish we eat. So I talk about that when I lecture people. There's also, when it comes to products like chicken, I always get a question about eating chicken, but, you know, I only advocate eating organic chicken, or you go to a local farmer that you know that grows the food, that you know where it comes from. Because if you don't know where it comes from, you're really taking a risk with your health.
Okay. All right. Dr. Atkins, I understand your wife works with you. What is her role in what you do?
Well, you know, the Center for Wellness and Healing is the name of the practice, and it was her vision, I guess, back in April of 2003, to really have a practice that really address people's needs. In traditional medicine, you always wait till a person have a problem and then you try to fix it. Or if they don't have a problem or diagnosis, you say, well, we'll wait, come back in 6 months and we'll see you then. Well, her idea was, what can we do to educate, number one, people in general, but specifically our community, to help them make a lifestyle change? So when she sees people, she does things like doing what we call a metabolic consult, where she takes time, does a comprehensive blood work on a person, and we read that blood work like a detective and see just the things that are out of balance. Sometimes when you go to a traditional doctor, they will look at blood work and say, oh, you're fine, everything looks normal. But if you're at low normal or you're at a high normal, where one more point you're going to be in a danger zone, they don't really share that with you. So we really look at your blood work, like detective work, and come up and find out where you need to target as far as making those healthy changes. Then she advocates programs, anything from hormonal balancing, because sometimes that's a problem. People have a lot of symptoms and a lot of problems but the underlying cause is a hormonal balance, natural thyroid balancing, looking at that diet to make sure that you're eating foods that you are not sensitive to. We do food sensitivity testing. People who have toxicity issues, we can also address that by doing toxicity testing, whether it's heavy metal testing. There are some hair analysis testing you can do, and also just doing the what we call a FIT test, a food inflammatory test. A lot of times we're eating foods that are causing inflammation that we have a sensitivity to, that causes things like headaches, cause back pains, joint pains. It's causing a lot of the symptoms we see every day, but we don't really realize it. So we want to identify those problems. We take them out of our diet, we make some small changes, and you see that your problems will tend to evaporate. And it's like peeling an onion. The more layers you take off, the better person you get to. One day they can shout hallelujah.
Wow, wow. Dr. Atkins, what are your plans for the future? I see what you're doing now. What are your plans for the future?
Well, the future is, we're working with another group of doctors here in town who are like-minded. We want to put a program together specifically for times like these. We see with this coronavirus situation that it's really impacting the African-American community, people of color, in cities like Chicago, where they're 24% of the population, but 66% of the deaths are African-Americans.
Right.
Same high death rate as in New York and also in Washington, D.C., in New Orleans. You have less than 20% of the population is Black, and you have 40 to 50% of the population that dying are our people. But it goes back to us not knowing how to take care of ourselves. I think if people had more information, they can make better choices. But we choose, number one, based on economics, and we know number one choose based on tradition and the way we were raised. So if you know you have a strong family history of diabetes and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you want to learn out, what do I do things to prevent that from happening? Because just because you have a strong family history of it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you, because I don't call those diseases, I call those conditions. High blood pressure is a condition. Right. Diabetes is a condition. The condition is my blood sugar is too high when I'm diabetic, or my blood pressure is too high when I'm high blood pressure, or my cholesterol is too high. Well, if you want to correct that condition, lower your cholesterol, lower your blood pressure, and lower your sugar levels. And those are there no more. But in traditional medicine, they don't teach you how to do those things. So we want to start a group for the future to teach these concepts, and not from a traditional approach, not from this point that I have to take medication and eat better. But if you eat better and get your body together, you can kind of reduce or eliminate medications that you're taking. There's some, I'm not against medications, they have their place, but not medications that you take for the rest of your life unless, it's a life-threatening situation.
Well, Dr. Floyd, I tell you what, I really enjoyed this interview.
Yes.
It's been eye-opening, and I know our audience will benefit from your advice. And I have one last question.
Sure.
One last thing I'd like to discuss. Now, the season of Total Life Change, current mission is to feature executive leaders like yourself who fill the roles of coaches, mentors, trainers, decision makers, strategic planners, and setting organizational goals. Can you tell us how you fit within those models?
Well,
Froze up.
Please let them know. You gotta tell them.
Again, the biggest thing with education, we share.
You gotta let them know he's frozen.
Yeah, it's freezing up. It's freezing up on us.
Training the trainers. Why did you talk to people? You train them to give them the valuable information they need to make a difference. So that's how I think we can really fit into that model.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of froze up on us. If you can go through that one more time.
Okay. What we would be able to support the organization in the way of actually teaching and education. We want to be able to train people in the community to be able to share with their neighbors, their friends and family on lifestyle changes they can make. Letting them know that they don't have to live with disease, that they can overcome it by making some changes. You know, it's like the old saying when it comes to what Einstein said, you can't keep doing the same thing and have a different outcome. You have to make a change. You gotta be proactive. You can't wait and be reactive. When you're reactive, you're always on the defense trying to avoid problems. When you're proactive, you address your issues and you're gonna do much better.
Well, Dr. Floyd Atkins, we had a little trouble getting started, but I really appreciate you joining us. And I know this is gonna be one of the better episodes that we've ever broadcast. And I wanna thank you. I thank your wife, even though she's not here, but have a great day and enjoy the rest of it. I know you've been working hard. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And like I said, anytime, I'm happy to be back anytime you'd have me.
All right, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.